Hey, I'm Dr. Ruth Roberts, the original holistic pet health coach. Hope that everyone had a very Merry Christmas and that life is good and happy, and you're getting ready to celebrate a happy new. So let's see if I can get this to be quiet. So this is the trick. So trying to figure out the whole Instagram thing, and it's a little crazy. So we'll just keep rolling. So we'll see how this flies. Anyway, hope everybody is having a great week so far. Thanks for jumping in. Got something really cool to share with you to check out, and hopefully this will be, you'll enjoy it. It's one of the things I think you should do something terrifying every 3 or 4 months. And so this is something that's terrifying for me. So you can tell me what you think about it. Uh, but as always, what I'm going to do is jump over to our Facebook group and answer a few questions there. The amazing thing is this group is over 29,000 people, which tells us how much holistic pet health support is needed. We've got a ton of folks asking questions in here, helping each other. We've got the holistic pet health coaches helping each other, helping you out. So let's just jump in. And Christy is asking if there's a natural way to break up a bladder stone. And there can be, it depends on what the bladder stone is. And if it's a struvite stone or a triple phosphate stone, if you're old like me, it is something that can be helped with what's called medical dissolution. There's also some traditional Chinese veterinary herbal formulas that have been used to help dissolve stones as well. So that's where I would definitely work with a coach to help you get the lowdown and dirty details, because it does take some effort and going through medical records to design the best plan. So, Linda, I'm so sorry about your baby with some mild seizures, and they're getting to be uh, more frequent at 5 times a week. Um, so, Linda, there's a couple of options. I would look at, if your pup has not had any issues with fat and pancreatitis, you can look at using a keto version of the original crockpet diet. We've got some recipes for that. If she has, you can try using just MCT oil, because even if she's eating carbohydrates, that will induce a state of ketosis. But again, you do have to be careful about upsetting the pancreas. So try that. There's also some Chinese herbal formulas for seizures that can be helpful. And then lastly, if she's 13 years old and this is just starting, that's quite a worry for something more serious in the center of the brain. So again, if you're having trouble getting answers from your vet and support there, talk to one of the coaches and see if they can't help you get on a better plan and help get these seizures under control. If the Keppra has not really helped that much, I wouldn't stop it abruptly, because what may be happening if these things are ramping up is that it may be worse if she were off the Keppra. So I'm going to drop the link here for checking out the coaches right there. And let's head back over here. And poor buddy. So yeah, Galliprant, Michelle, Galliprant is just going to help alleviate the discomfort. It's a non-steroidal anti-inflammatory, and it looks like there's some pretty severe deformities in the wrist there. There's a ton of options. So one of my favorites is the Pets Pimp mat, because it's super easy. Your baby can just lay down on it. You can cut it onto the pain cycle for anywhere from 30 minutes up to 4 to 8 hours. And that's been super helpful. Certainly, you want to make sure that you're using an anti-inflammatory diet, which a home cooked diet is, omega-3 fatty acids. There's CBD certainly is going to be really critical to help relieve pain and discomfort there. So again, tons and tons of options. Cynthia's got a 7-year-old pug that's been treated for an enlarged prostate for 2 years. All sorts of good stuff. This is a tough one. And so it sounds like there's an infection underneath there, which is really yucky. And Dana's right. She's an expert in essential oils and homeopathy. And I would definitely work with somebody instead of just trying to throw this and this. The other thing, again, Pemf mat can be tremendously helpful because it's going to help reduce inflammation, which is the underlying issue there. And the way it works is super simple. You're just having your pup lay on the mat and all is good. And yeah, a lot of possibilities going on here. So what I would do is this guy looks pretty what we would say is ataxic as it is. So it could be anywhere from a really gnarly inner ear infection down to something neurologic. So again, I think you got it. You want to get some help with that too. And God bless your future daughter-in-law. So if you go over to the group and circle, you can download our vaccine protocol and check that out there. I don't recommend leptospirosis and Bordetella only if you're going to a large boarding facility. Yeah, I think you've got a lot of other options out there. With this kitty, I think witch hazel can be annoying, and I think just using something, and as far as cleaning goes, the other option would be the Soothe salve from our friends at Hemp Dog. That's been awesome for that kind of stuff. And then Paris is right. Work on getting at the root cause of what's going on underneath there uh, in terms of the acne. Zenaida, this is, yeah, there is a lot to do. So there is a ton of options in terms of food, which are really good. And again, this is a situation where you want to work with a holistic pet health coach to really formulate a plan because they can help you figure out the, excuse me, the alkalinity, excuse me, and help you make adjustments with that, and then also get some help with resolving the stones. So any product is safe as long as it is safely monitored, and a lot of the hides we need to be careful of if they eat. Um, Tend to eat things whole that can really get us into trouble. And Janet, so here's the deal. You guys will say, "Oh, she's on a raw diet, so everything ought to be good." But it turns out that there's a lot of pets that really don't digest raw very well. And so I would argue with you as well that it's maybe not the ancestral diet for dogs. So what I would suggest you do is something we call the Glacier Peaks test to help you determine what foods yeah, can hold would be appropriate and not create issues. So check that out. And it's funny, Lisa, you're asking if holistic medicine can help me with my sneeze. And actually, it's amazing. We're still in Montenegro where the solution for everything is herbal teas. So Mary Jo had this cold. She's gotten over it in 2 days. And I have to say that the tea, elderberry, all of that good stuff has helped tremendously. Yes. And Annette, if you are looking for natural heartworm, I would take a look at a couple of things. One is there is the HWF product, which I think, yeah, which I think it can probably help us out with for a link there. It's by Amber Naturals, and so the idea is that it will help to prevent issues in terms of things that shouldn't be in the heart not being there any longer. And then if you head over to my website, there are multiple options. So there are amber natural collars, so Baltic amber. There are several blogs about how to use essential oils to help repel fleas. So there's a boatload of information there. But I think even if you use something like the regular heart guard, what have you, then you can use that much less frequently than's on the label. So often you can use it every 60 days, and probably you do not need to use it year round because once the temperature drops below 55 degrees at night consistently, then the larvae cannot replicate inside the heartworm to become infective. So let's head back over to the page. And so Teresa's asking about a holistic treatment for kennel cough. And the deal is too, is that there is this what they're finally calling a respiratory complex. And that's the problem, is that it's not just Bordetella, it's not just canine influenza, there's a whole host of stuff, just like for us right now. So what I would do is just supportive care because basically that's all we can do. And if it's a mild random cough, you probably want to make sure that you're using something to help support. There, there's a great product available in the EU called Bronchi-Pret, which is a thymol and ivy extract. I think it's available in the US through Benor. That works extremely well. Any type of thymol, oil of oregano, grapefruit seed extract, that kind of stuff can help suppress some of these viral problems as well. And then use things like honey or a mild tea of honey and elderberry to help with the cough as well. And then lastly, if this is a on again, off again issue, Breathe, which is a tincture made by our friends over at Mycodog, is fantastic for supporting dogs with respiratory issues, whether those are infectious or otherwise. So go check that out if you have not seen it. Poor buddy. So for your pup, or cat, actually, as Dana asks, I think there's a couple of things you can do. The first is to reduce the pain and the inflammation. So that's again where using pulsed electromagnetic frequency mats can be super helpful. So hopefully he's just got that Pets Pimp mat link in there. And by the way, those are on sale. They're $100 off until the end of the year, so a couple of days away. So $300. I ended up going with this product because they're 25 times more powerful than other ones are on the market, and they are super simple to use. So I would try that and then just keep them as comfortable as possible. I hate to say it, but eventually, if the teeth are rotten, they will come out on their own. But I had a client with a very elderly cat, and this is what all we could do for her was to use cold laser therapy. And this way, you don't have to drag your pet into the office to get treated and get tortured and muzzled and all that good stuff. And Stacy, welcome. Yep, it's one of those deals. Yeah, you've got to. This is where you have to be 100% paying attention on this one. So, unfortunately, not an easy solution to keeping dogs apart. And Pamela, I would really encourage you to check out the original Crock Pet diet. So My colleagues have got us fixated that raw is the ancestral diet for dogs, but there's actually a lot of evidence that it is not, and that actually they've been eating what we've been eating. Oh, poor pup. So, Pam, I think this is where you need to get some help with what's going on in the abdomen, because a lot of these guys with pancreatitis end up with chronic abdominal pain. That's again where using things like arnica orally and then PEMF mats, CBD, all of those things to help restore comfort, you should start to see that interest in food come back. And early kidney disease, I really wouldn't worry about in a dog this age. I think the more moist you get into her, the better off things are going to be. But really, right now, the key is to get her eating well again and feeling comfortable. And there you go. And I think raw, not so much, but again, I think real food, whole food is critically important. And Linda, so you can have, if they're having diarrhea, then yes, you need to do something about it. But if that just came up on a fecal test, then maybe not so much. But this is crazy cat ladies are awesome. So we get that checked out. And milk thistle, somewhere around 50 milligrams, a couple of times, excuse me, once a day for at least a week to 3 weeks. And again, you can work with, it depends on what's going on as far as why you need to support the liver. Let's see. And Vicky, this is really a frustrating topic. So it turns out that we likely are creating a lot of the chronic health issues that we're seeing in our pets by spaying and neutering early. Now, what I want to get across to you is that having said that, I don't want to come across as saying that you shouldn't spay or neuter because I don't want to go back to the situation where we're euthanizing thousands and thousands of pets every day. So when I went to Charleston in the 90s, they were taking in 45,000 pets every year and euthanizing 38,000. So that's definitely not where we want to go. But what you do need to do is be aware of the problems that are created when we have these early spaying and neutering. And that is that the luteinizing hormone levels go up 20 to 30 times normal. And then we end up with a situation where tissues that should not have receptors for luteinizing hormone do. And so this is where much of the chronic disease, I believe, is coming from, and especially the cancer. So, what can you do if your pet's already spayed and neutered? One is you need to feed real food. And I would say cooked food. So, crock pet diet is an easy way to do that because you can cook in batches. The second is you need to control inflammation. The third is you need to reduce the toxic burden. So, meaning get the plastics out of your house, get the plastics out of the pet food, the plastic content of the kibble, because of the plastic lined bag is astronomical. And then the other thing is make sure that the liver function is as optimal as it possibly can be, because it's going to be responsible for removing excess levels of hormone and toxins as well. And then, secondary to the gut, we have to make sure that the gut is functioning really well. So, keep up the good work, but just find somebody that you can work with to really get you some help in getting a good plan laid together. If you can do an ovary sparing spay or a vasectomy, that is the best way to go. Outside of the US, there is a gonadotropin releasing hormone blocker called Betaril. Sorry, that's the wrong one. I just lost the word. Vetaril is not what you want. That's one of the meds for Cushing's. But at any rate, it's only used for ferrets in the US because that will help to reduce hyperestrogenism in ferrets. And supralorin is the word I was looking for. Outside of the US, it is used to prevent unwanted pregnancies and to chemically castrate dogs and cats. And so, meaning they females and males cannot reproduce. So that is an option. If you can talk your veterinarian into it, it can be used off label in the US, but it is something that will have to be re-implanted every 6 to 12 months. If you can get your dog or your cat up to at least 3 to 5 years of age, that is much better because at 5, that's the equivalent of us humans going into menopause or andropause. So I think that is really important, is to focus on what you can do to help improve the liver's ability to get rid of the excess hormones and reduce the toxic burden. So I was just reading some information in recent studies and they've been tracking microplastic contamination of placentas in humans now for 10 years. And the incidence has gone from 3 to 5% to 20% to 50%. And as of 2021, 100% of the placentas they looked at contained microplastics. Now, to me, that is horrifying and really almost impossible to deal with. But what that means is that babies are being born with microplastics. You can bet that puppies are being born, kittens are being born with microplastics in their tissues. They are known hormone disruptors. And so you really have got to focus on detoxification and improved gut health and feeding optimally for that individual pet. So this is just so frustrating when I think about this, and this is the difficulties. You can move into a state of overwhelm or you can do what you can do about it. So I think we've got a couple of different detox protocols and healthy living protocols, but that's going to be really critical to prevent a lot of this chronic disease we're seeing. And last question. Yeah, I hear you, Lisa. That is just tough stuff. So, one thing I'm going to tell you is that if you try to wean down, you have to do it slowly. And again, this is something where if you work with a human health coach, they can help you with this because there are a lot of options. And recommendations I could make here, I think, would be really inappropriate. But if you go over to the consultation page, there are, I think, 6 or 8 different human health coaches that are now holistic pet health coaches as well. So Paris Reed is an FDN coach. Yeah, this is where this concept came from, right? So people that are trained to understand how to use functional medicine to support chronic disease. So Paris Reed, Wilma Shaw, Leah Bookhammer, Bea Swazi, and there are more as well. So go check that out. But this is where this whole idea of holistic pet health coaches came from. When you can't get answers at the vet, and you also want to, or maybe you got an answer, but it's to take this pill for the next 12 years. This is what the holistic pet health coaches can help you figure out. Understand where the problem started, what the underlying cause is, and then use nutritional and lifestyle choices to help improve that problem and improve that outcome. So, one of the most common success stories that the coaches have had is getting dogs off of Apoquel, right? And that's not supposed to happen. And what have they done? They've changed the diet based on Yes, here we go. So this is the cool thing. This can be done. This started out of the human side because health coaches on the human side are making such a massive difference for people. All right, y'all, that's all the energy and steam I've got. I want to thank you for sticking with us this year. It's been a crazy year. You guys are doing amazing things, supporting each other within this group. You've been following us. You've been taking our advice for what it's worth. And what I want to show you is a little video we put together. And so this is what I mean by doing something terrifying every year. So here we go. Imagine there's no heaven. Easy if you try. No hell below us. Above us, only sky. Imagine all the people living for today. Imagine there's no countries. Isn't hard to do. Nothing to kill or die for. No religion too. Imagine all the people living life in peace. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. Hope someday you'll join us, and the world will be as one. Imagine no possessions. Wonder if you can. No need for greed or hunger. Brotherhood of man. Imagine all the people sharing all the world. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. Hope someday you'll join us, and the world will live as one. Those are the folks that make all of this possible. Many of the photos were my team in the Philippines, my mentors, Delora, Michael, Deb, who's just joining us, and Jessica, and so many of the coaches. We're at a we're at a really difficult place in the world. So I hope you can join us praying for peace. Thank you for all of your attention, for all of your good work in supporting your pets and those of others around you. So until next year, enjoy, have a happy new year, and we'll see you next Thursday.